So in 2016, my organization set out to define and evaluate the impact of our work for our organization for the first time in our 30-year history. We knew our work made an impact, but we didn't have the data to back it up, and we wanted to respond to calls for evaluation and tell our story more effectively. My organization, Essential Partners, helps communities navigate differences across identity. And we focus on patterns of communication that escalate conflict, and then do facilitation and training and consultation to help people re-engage with each other. So when we are under threat, we go further apart and become just one aspect of our identity, just Democrat or Republican, and we lose what makes us complex and unique. So our work and dialogue helps communities get out of those stuck conversations and out of those conflicts. But whether that's a college working on diversity and inclusion, or whether we're working in Nigeria, working with Christians and Muslims to help rebuild their communities. But obviously that is really challenging because success looks different each time. And we wanted to create a system for our evaluation that allowed us to both measure the anticipated outcomes and the unanticipated outcomes of what happened. People talk about using this with families. So essentially we were charged with building an authentic system that worked with our mission, that worked within our capacity, and that got buy-in from all the stakeholders with whom we work. Which is challenging because we're a small nonprofit. We have a staff of 9 people. We rely a lot on our trainers and facilitators in the field to do a lot of our work that aren't in the office all the time. And we knew that in order for this to be successful and sustainable, we would need people in the field to collect and code and analyze data. But as any of you have done organizational change work, it's hard. And we were working with people who had dedicated their whole lives to this organization, as well as those who were new to it. So we started by slowing down, and we tried to figure out, and we tried to kind of embody what we value as an organization. And so even though it slowed us down at first, we started in dialogue. And we talked about the impact that we see our work have in the world. And out of that, kind of collaboratively developed a theory of change. And our theory of change both honored the legacy of where we come from and the future of where we're going. It allowed us to see what we expect to happen in our work each and every time, as well as, number 5, new versions of success or definitions of success. So after that, we built a foundation that we could be confident in, and we worked with our staff, our trainers and facilitators, and external consultants, some of whom are here, to develop these 4 domains of evaluation. And what's interesting about that is that some of those original fears were realized, and that our work did change because of the monitoring and evaluation system. But because we brought our people in at the beginning, they felt invited and felt like this monitoring and evaluation work actually made their work in the field better and more strong and more comprehensive. Because the fact of the matter is, the work that we do, it doesn't create change overnight. Difficult conversations and patterns and the way that we communicate, especially under conflict, is tough. And people see our monitoring and evaluation as a way of committing to them to stay with them as they do that work. But it affects us as well because we find this amazing data that helps us learn. Over 50% of people who do this work are able to facilitate more effectively and facilitate new people after they work with us. But most of them don't see it as dialogue. So we've had to adapt how we talk about our work. But ultimately, we see that this work, that our monitoring and evaluation work helps people feel like they're connected with us and helps model the connection we want them to invest within each other and in their own communities. And people see it as a value add, and people see it as a competitive edge. So our clients actually hire us because their goals are more likely to succeed when we check in on them and help support them as they do this. And they see it as such a benefit, which actually leads us to actually pay off in this investment in a literal way too. In the last year, since we've kind of unveiled this, we've gotten 2 new grants and almost $120,000 in revenue, as well as new clients. So I think this is the value of an intrinsically motivated system for us. It's aligned our communities under a shared definition of success. It's allowed us to develop business while embodying our organizational values. And we learn so that we can improve. But what makes this different is that we saw this from the very beginning as something we do together or not at all. We partnered with our communities in building the evaluation system and made it adaptable enough to work with our partners and funders' needs as we go along. So, shifts happen. We've known this for 25 years. in the work that we do with communities, but I think it applies to evaluation too. If you want to know more, we provide our whole system for free online, and we'll be talking tomorrow on social cohesion if you want to join us then. Thank you very much.